Welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. In the last episode we visited the martyr Zacharias' cemetery, and then we went back here and I had a bizarre dream. Now it is time to head back out again. We will leave Social behind and take our beloved friend Darren instead. And yes, you can leave the camp from that tent. We are going to the Houndheart campsite. So it's just... first of all, let me check if I have Yeah, I do have movement points on my crusader armies again. I didn't need to go that way, I meant to go that way. Kill some flies. This thing probably has a general. No, but it has lots of flies. What is this? Heroism. This is probably going to end up with us losing some troops. Yeah, the infirmary is almost filled up there. Well, that's good at least. We might get replenishment. Yep, we will get replenishment of all the dead troops, because it hasn't filled up. Good. So, all of them have been replenished at the infirmary. We found Crest of Malander Linds, the Fallen Knight. He was apparently one of the most notable and controversial figures of the Third Crusade. And we also found a breastplate +2. And the general has leveled up. Let's take Scorching Ray. Where does this lead? Nightingale Grove. Okay, our other army, we can take out that fortress with that one. No idea what that is. It's just regular cultists, so this won't even be a... This should be pretty simple. They do have a general, but... dead. Dead. And dead. And I should recruit a general for this army. A crusader unit advancing north encountered a cultist band and eliminated it. The servants of the Abyss had been transporting prisoners of war to Dresden, the remains of the garrison from Villareth Ford, which had been captured by the demons. Exhausted and wounded, the warriors adamantly refused to depart for the relative safety of Kenabres and instead asked to join the commander's forces. The squad of crusaders was caught in a sudden storm from the west. It lasted only a few minutes, but the unnatural lightning, made up of electricity, flames, acid and ice, left several soldiers dead. The ease with which the forces of nature brutally claimed the lives of their comrades has demoralized the crusaders. We went from high to average. Okay, let's get a general for this army here. Defensive training, defensive training. Not entirely convinced by any of these. We'll go with the Chief Ageboya. Got a new army. Regular rangers, we can just merge them into this one. The outpost at Villareth Ford, which straddles the West Sellen crossing and Selen crossing and is of strategic importance has been taken. The cultists are destroyed and the commander's army is able to operate on both sides of the river. Yes. I would like the Master of Maneuvers ability, but yeah, now our Crusader camp is there. Ooh, a general. Not that he will be able to do much. His army will be dead before it's his turn. There's another demon army down here. With Primorax. Who I think cast fireballs, so I want to get rid of them. That ability is pretty nice. Also the fireball you get later on, so if you do the crusade the regular way, not the cheat way that I do, then I encourage you to get generals who have Scorching Ray and eventually get fireball for them. Leveled up. Ah, Master of Maneuver. Now we have room for 5. And that is a substantial army. Let's get the archers out. Champions. Okay, let's go for the champions then. $250. Ooh, that is a lot. And gone you go. And all of the ones we lost were vanished at the infirmary. We found the broken phylactery of Stevanius the Rotten, who was an apprentice of Sacarius. We also found a magician's ring. And she leveled up. So we're going to go with Cure Wounds as the next one, which is another very good spell. And now we're back to our regular party, and we will head to the Houndheart. Magical anomalies are common in the world of Golarion, so common that the use of the word anomaly itself is questionable. A regular city dweller will encounter a chaotic manifestation of supernatural power at least once in their lifetime. One might naturally assume that the strange sky, the ghostly fire from rifts in the ground, the rain of eyeballs, all that the Worldwound is known for, should find some purchase in the mortal mind. But even the most worldly of travellers feel uneasy at its borders. Why? Perhaps instinctively they understand that this place is not merely a magical wasteland, but a wound, an ulcer, through which the world itself bleeds into the abyss. The commander and his army walk up on the high bank of the West Selen River, where it draws near the border of the Worldwound. The soldiers' feet halt unbidden. On the other bank rises a series of cliffs, too regular in shape to have been formed by wind or water. The sky hangs over their sharp edges and sickening bends. Shade of mercury on the horizon, rising to dirty rust. As it arches above the soldiers' heads, it regains its familiar azure hue. A whisper sweeps through the ranks and soon turns into a grumble. The commander gives a signal to wait and climbs to the highest point along the bank. There, he decides to address the soldiers and boost their morale. Establishing rapport with his troops is yet another battle that the leader must face. Through the subtle alchemy of words, one can win trust and raise morale, or lose face and authority. Addressing the army on the border of the Worldwound, the commander seeks to establish himself as a military leader on this new battleground, and his efforts prove fruitful. The soldiers listen dutifully, smiles appearing on their faces. Someone in the ranks jokes that the demons are growing tired of waiting for them, and the army keeps moving. Lines of soldiers step warily beneath the shroud of low black clouds. It is like the Worldwound has reached out a finger into the lands of Mendev. The gesture seems eerily harmless, but then the clouds come to life, shooting out howling tornadoes, one after another. The tornadoes come from all sides, from ahead, behind, and right above the soldiers' heads. The power of the elements on one side of the scales, the soldiers' faith and inspiration on the other. It is plain to see which is greater. The determined army runs the gauntlet of tornadoes. The struggle lasts over half an hour, but the army's only losses are a few bags of supplies and a dozen hats whipped off into the sky. After stopping to catch their breath, the soldiers continue on. Their first encounter with the Worldwound has ended in their favor. Not bad, our morale is back up to high. Never mind that the army is already on the other side of the river, but I suspect I was meant to have that before I was moving my armies around. It's a little bit too far out, game. Or mod. Finally here! Elan and Curl must be around here someplace, and Janna too, if they gave her permission to leave. Ah, there they are. Greetings, Asila, and greetings to you, Knight Commander. Sir Elan puts his hands behind his back and bows slightly. Then he casts an inquisitive glance at you. He seems less friendly than he was the day you met at the Defender's Heart. Janna puts her hands on her hips. She looks even more dashing than usual. Elan is feeling a little shy. He thought he asked for help from a couple nobodies like us, but now you've turned into the saviors of Canabras, Knights of the Fifth Crusade, marked by Iomede's blessing. And you still came to help him dig through a pile of junk. Sela frowns a little. Let's not talk about it. I assure you, I am the same Sela, your friend from the League of the Cart, and we came here to help you look for Elan's ring. By the way, where's Curl? He didn't come with us. He said an old wound was acting up. Alright, my friends, since we're here, let's finish this mission quickly. I really don't feel comfortable bothering the Knight Commander with my personal problems. Is there something wrong, Elan? Am I making you nervous? The young knight is obviously embarrassed. I apologize. Janna is right. Much has changed since we met in Canabras. Some things for the better, some not at all. He stops short, apparently unwilling to elaborate. What does the ring look like, and where should we look for it? The last time I saw the ring, it was with my things in my travelling chest. Now the camp's in total disarray. I don't know how we'll ever find it. The ring is made of shiny silver metal with a deep blue-green jewel. Can't miss it. Master Darek is not just a jeweler, he's an artist. There's no mistaking one of his creations. A trinket worth several months' pay, Elan? The rules on the surface are insane. You should give your girls fried rats like we do. You'd save yourself a lot of trouble. Alright, off we go. Janna and I will look around the northern side. We'll see you when we find something, or when we give up trying.
As it should be.
Can't hide from me.
Let's just look around the entire area. Not going to do that. Just want to have everything visible. Okay, now we can go to that knowledge world. That should be easily possible.
Done.
Torn flag of the Houndhearts, a small but noble order of crusaders. The ground is trampled and there are signs of battle everywhere. The Houndhearts were clearly attacked by demons here. The tent has been cut open from the inside. The knights apparently left it in a hurry. Now we can start rummaging through the various items here. Hat of Heartening Song. It's a nice bard's hat. This tent is different from the rest. There's a strong burnt smell around it and a rustling sound comes from within.
Did we find trouble?
Oh,
Two
They
Brimarax.
a calculated risk.
I hope I can get them down before they attack us. Because they cast fireballs and I hate fireballs.
Time to share your treasures.
Ah,
My sight.
that guy is going to be able to cast a fireball, isn't he? Why is that on 0? Maybe I haven't... Ah, because I haven't activated it. Ah.
Attack! You've crossed the wrong line.
Darn it.
This should do it.
Well, they're down at least. And they didn't do that much damage.
This is my kind of work.
That is not far.
Now I happen to know that the chest here is the one that has the ring, so we'll take the other stuff first. Melted shard of a ring. Going all the way back there.
Oh, skip the pleasantries.
A small quasi-demon emerges from the chest. It looks at you angrily, screwing up its ugly little face. It is holding a shiny object in its paws, a sparkling silver ring with a large blue-green jewel. My precious! Sorry. It's mine, mine! Elan, look! Look at that creepy thing! What is it holding? I've seen one of those before. These small demons like to tease and bully, but it'll bolt if it senses any real threat. Let's surround it and attack all together because it can figure out what's happening. Mine! The crusade throws its paws in the air and splashes you with beams of color. You hear insolent giggling. Demon is jumping up and down, throwing the ring into the air and catching it. Mine! Mine! Elan! Janna! Sela glances at her friends, then turns to you. They're all right. They'll come round soon. Quickly, Caledon, let's catch the little rascal before it runs off with the ring. You mean flies off with the ring? Now there is a couple of things,
Rules are made to be broken.
rather one thing that I want to do before.
Ask nicely.
Doubt is the heart's
Together,
greatest challenge.
we stand.
Time's not waiting.
I don't steal.
Let us
I
bide our
encourage
time.
people to save the poor, helpless tieflings around the world. Starting with me.
Enlarged person on Sela. And a large person on Minter.
I'll go ahead.
Come and get me! You're too slow! It's fun to play. Give me the ring, you scoundrel! Look, it's Curl. Before Elan manages to get the Quasite, the halfling Curl appears right next to it, quite out of nowhere. He snatches the ring from the demon's paws. You mustn't get it. Curl? What are you... Thrusting herself between Elan and Curl, Selim barely manages to absorb the blow aimed at the halfling. Elan, stop! Have you gone mad? He's using a summon spell. Why did you stop?
Did we step on their toes as well?
Some lovely prey has just stepped into my trap. No, Elan, Sela, help! Damn it, I didn't sign up for this! Coward. Get ready, we're on our own now.
I will see to your demise.
Cover me, alright?
Can I move away? Thank you.
You won't survive me.
Into the fray!
I don't think I'm going to bother casting haste here.
Let's try this way.
It's a little bit redundant.
Precision and grace.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
Endure this.
There we go. Elan, what were you doing? You nearly cut down Curl. Without a second thought and without a trial, without even knowing if he was responsible for all this. He might be a victim himself. What am I doing? He lured us into a trap. Curl was the only one who knew where we were going. He knew we thought there wouldn't be anyone at the camp besides some small harmless demons, so he set a trap. I wouldn't be surprised if his demon masters had him targeting the commander from the start. Talk about believing in the redemption of scoundrels. Elan scoffs. We barely know anything about what happened. Curl is a good lad. He's not a spy or a murderer. Maybe they threatened him or tricked him or even bewitched him with demon magic. And now we'll never know because you let him escape. Better to let a thief escape than to cut down an innocent. So you're willing to let a traitor bring demons down on our heads just to keep your conscience clean? Get serious, Sela. I am serious about this. I just cannot allow you to murder someone who I consider to be a good person or someone who could at least redeem themselves. I am sorry to hear that, sister. Don't you understand you're not just a common knight anymore? Sela, I didn't want to say this, but I think of you as my friend, so I'm going to warn you. After what happened at the Grey Garrison, you are in serious danger, and maybe not just you. You might like to ignore military hierarchy and the rules of knightly orders, but there is wisdom in them that has stood the test of time. A soldier rises from a private to an officer, a knight begins as a squire. Even Iomede's paladins gain their abilities gradually, but not with you and the commander. You were granted incredible powers, far surpassing seasoned paladins with experience and skill far beyond your years. You received this gift at just the right moment and saved a lot of lives across Mendev, and that's a great deed that will be remembered for ages to come. But what happened next was wrong. They began to worship you. The Queen gave you such vast power, all while you sidestepped everything, training, experience and hardship. This is not the first time Her Majesty has behaved rashly, and how much good has this brought, Mendev? I am frightened by what I see, especially by the way that you, Sela, trust people so easily and leap into adventures without looking. One day you'll lower your sword when you should have driven the blade home, just like thousands of bright-eyed youngsters will after you. Elan pauses as if reluctant to continue, then looks you in the eye. I wanted to tell you the same thing, Commander. You're right to an extent, Elan, but I didn't choose my lot, and I'm just trying to fulfill my duty as best I can. The knight lowers his head. I apologize for my harsh words. I said it to Sela, and I'll say it again. This wasn't a reproach, but a warning. The power you have been given, it may be your undoing, and the undoing of all the crusaders along with you. In any case, forgive me for wasting your time and subjecting you to danger here. Now, at least we know that Curl is a traitor, and Janna is a coward ready to abandon her friends when the going gets rough. I hope we'll all learn a lesson from these mistakes. As for that blasted ring, to hell with it. Kiana won't love me solely for the gifts I bring her. Elan makes no attempt to conceal his disappointment. Nodding goodbye, he lowers his head and walks away. Sela watches as he leaves. Her expressive eyes are filled with sadness. Everything's become very complicated all of a sudden. Please, Caledon, let's go back, and I'd like to talk to you about it later. I have a lot to think about. Yeah. There is naive, and then there is naive.
This is my kind of work.
Aha!
A divine protector shield. I don't think there's anything else there. These probably just have regular... Oh, demonic heart. That's nice. But as for the rest, I think we're done here. Need to change around this again. Is this correct? Yep. The only thing is I want Sela to be in the middle. There we go. I'm not ready to go back to camp just yet. Besides, the camp has moved. It's no longer there. It's up here. We'll go to the Nightingale Grove, which I think... I don't know what that is, actually. Someone on the road. Oh god, is this encounter? This encounter is actually quite nasty.
I welcome your company.
Barksin is rather nice. Lasts for 10 minutes per level. Duration 1 minute. Per level.
The road awaits.
And then a large person on Sela. Do that again, and a large person on Woodriff. And there is something we can do with that, I think. No. But those are the spells we can cast. We'll cast Mirror Image.
No mistakes.
You can cast Haste. It kind of has
A bright future awaits us.
minor effect on the... I suppose I could use Lay on Hands to get rid of the fatigue. But it'll take a little bit too long, I feel. How long does that last? A minute. You can cast Bless, though.
I'm here. Where else would I be?
You can cast Mage Armor on yourself. And then Mutagen Dexterity. And then we'll
Follow
go
my
in.
lead.
Through the mist, you spot the flickering flames of a campfire. 3 figures wrapped in crusader cloaks are huddled next to it. A stout, smiling dwarf, a brash, dark-haired halfling, and a delicate-looking woman who appears to be very young. The crackling campfire is driving away the bleak fog and promising warmth and rest for tired legs. Noticing you, the halfling's hand jerks towards his weapon, but then he relaxes. Hey, it's the commander himself. Don't just stand there, have a seat by the fire. It's a bit damp today, you might as well dry off at least. In an amicable gesture, he passes you a large mug that smells of freshly brewed tea. Look around to make sure that this place is safe. The location for the camp was chosen wisely. It is safe and quiet here. No tracks in sight, the air is calm, but an odd feeling of wrongness lances through you like a sting from an angry wasp. Something isn't right. It is quiet here, all right. As the grave. I don't know why, but I don't like the feel of this place. It makes my scales stand on end. Who are you? Frontline scouting party. Our senior sent us ahead to look for ambushes. We've been walking all day, so we're making a bivouac. Go ahead, help yourself to some tea. It's an honor for us to be sharing a campfire with the commander. Something in the way the halfling speaks sounds off. Senior instead of commanding officer, bivouac instead of the more casual camp. Maybe he's just a new recruit. A broad smile blossoms on Sila's face. I never thought we'd run into such jovial company out here. I don't suppose you guys have anything stronger than tea in your canteens? Catching the halfling's conspiratorial look, she smiles even brighter. Rubbing his hands excitedly, Woldriff casts a hopeful look at the mug of tea, then at you. Chief, just so you know, walking away from campfires where folks give you free food is a sin in the eyes of the gods. Nope, something's not right. Attack! Smirking brazenly, the halfling licks his lips with a surprisingly long, pustule-covered red tongue. Ha! Would you look at that? He didn't buy it. Enough of this masquerade, then, everyone. No more games. The figures by the fire ripple and transform. 3 grey-haired and dark-skinned elves watch you with mocking sneers. Their twisted, grimacing faces look demonic. From the haze, more previously unseen shadows materialize. They are all just as loathsome and unsettling. The campfire emits a sickly sweet, intoxicating smell, and in the squat kettle you see some slimy mushrooms swimming in a disgusting boiling slurry. What was the point of this charade? Lady Anamora desires your head, and we will gladly deliver it. The elf, whose voice as Tran was so convincing, lets out a repulsive snicker. You monsters! Sela looks at those who appear to be trusted allies a moment ago with open disgust. How did I not see you for what you are, right from the start? Dumb paladin. You really think your ability to sense evil can't be fooled? Lady Anemora taught us long ago how to trick the likes of you. Who are you? The one who was pretending to be the halfling Velm makes a face, mimicking you in an obnoxious voice. Who are you? We are servants of Lord Descari, and you are the pitiful insect that got caught in our web. The elf who was masquerading as the cleric Asti gives you a lecherous smile, enthusiastically dragging her tongue along the blade of her dagger. Did you like sweet little Asti? Did you want to play with her in your tent? You think I'm at your mercy? We'll see who the real prey is. I love it when the prey likes to fight back. Haste, definitely.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Okay, well done.
Distract them for me.
Make every strike count.
There are some up there as well, yes. How is the party health? It's not that good, so...
Forwards!
The light, take you.
Yes. Woljith, would you be so kind as to go down here? And then up there.
You crossed the wrong mongrel.
Yes.
Good.
I'll make short work of this.
Didn't exactly mean to do that, but there's not exactly an undo button, so... Okay, that's all of them down there.
This will hurt.
Time to share your treasures.
You won't survive me.
And there we go. No idea where this drow came from. Cold Iron Masterwork Longbow. I thought that was magic based on the icon for it. But okay. Masterwork. Regular daggers, of course. Doesn't have a plus, but it does. Maybe there's a problem with the icon?
Let's have some fun.
Where did you come from?
Out of my sight.
Into the fray.
You seem to be stuck.
Endure this.
Cover me, all right?
Oh, wherever you did come from, you are now dead. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Just having a look around to see if there's anything else here. Something there. I don't think there's anything else.
Can't hide from me.
I was wrong. There is something there. And then we can leave. Two seconds. Sorry about that. And I don't think there was anything of use here, so leave. We'll go there, and then we will take a little nap. Protective rituals. I don't think you should be doing protective rituals with a -1. Thunfix, you will be doing the protective rituals. We have the Abyssal Corruption down here. If we are able to succeed this dice roll, of course a 1 will be a critical failure, even though it says chance of success 100%. I'm not sure. I don't know if it actually does give critical failure on that. Now we can put another character as a secondary person on this. Maybe I will put someone there. Waldriff is correct in the camouflage. As for Night Watch, we will want to have Lan, and Sela is fine. So protective rituals, we can indeed put Darren there. And as for the Night Watch, we can put Caledon there to just increase the dice. So we shouldn't get this much Abyssal Corruption.
How'd you know you don't got long to live? You look healthy enough to me.
Ah, but that's because I'm secretly coughing into a lace handkerchief that's becoming stained with blood as my condition progresses.
Ah, the dark humor. So we got about half the Abyssal Corruption that it said. It was around here, maybe 2/3. So we did that rather nicely. And on that note, I think it is a good place to end the episode. If you do have any questions and or comments, then as per usual, please do feel free to leave those in the comment section, of course. And I hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you will come around for the next one as well.